everyone, I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Brandon. And we're the
Wagners. We're a husband-wife duo who travel all around the country since 2021 for Brandon's travel nursing job.
We love hiking, car camping, new cities, and of course, the best food and drink. Along with adventure, we always look for ways to keep our travel budget-friendly.
So pack your bags and join us as we wander together. Hey Wanderers, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to London. Sadly, today is already our last day in London, so let's get started. We pretty much had all of our excursions booked for today, so we knew our day would fill up quickly. Our first activity was the London Eye, which if you're unfamiliar with that, it is essentially just a huge Ferris wheel that overlooks London, and you're in a glass enclosure for 360 views. So though London is home to many historic landmarks, this one is newer, only being built in 1999, but it quickly became a pretty iconic one. Today, it's the most popular paid tourist attraction in the UK, receiving over 3 million guests every year. Not only can it boast the most visitors in the UK, it can also boast the tallest observation wheel in Europe at 443 feet or 135 meters. Until 2006, it was actually the tallest Ferris wheel in the world until the Star of Nanchang in China took its crown. If this makes anyone who's afraid of heights feel a little queasy, let me assure you again that though the pods are all glass, they're entirely enclosed and there is a solid colored floor beneath you, so you can't just see the earth beneath you or feel the breeze as you ride. There's a little seat in the middle, however, if you're still feeling a little uneasy. So let's talk tickets. You can either get walk-up tickets or get your tickets online, but again, it's always encouraged that you pre-book your tickets. Especially like us coming from the USA, it would be a huge bummer if they sold out. So when you get your ticket, there are times on there, and that is the time that you will be allowed into the queue, not your departure time, if you will, as the eye moves constantly. So the website actually says to not arrive before your time slot. So unlike the Louvre in Paris where I arrived 10 minutes early and was told I was late, this time they actually want you to wait until your posted ticket time to join the queue. So online it says that on a slow day you may need to wait 20 minutes for regular tickets and about 10 to 15 for fast track tickets, and on a busy day possibly up to 45 minutes. But I think they're overshooting because we did come on a weekday in the morning in October, but if we waited in line at all, it was like less than 5 minutes. But either way, whenever your posted ticket, that's the time you should enter the line. The ride itself is 30 minutes. So for adults, a regular ticket is £32, kids 2 to 15 are £28, and under 2 is free. So if we didn't talk about the exchange rate from US dollars to pounds, they're slightly more than euros, which is slightly more than dollars. So for every pound is about $1.25, thereabout. So obviously bigger items, this adds up more, but smaller items, it's about the same. So for example, one adult ticket to the Eye is £32, and that would be 40 US dollars. But honestly, if you ask me, the Eye is something that you need to do when you're in London. So even though it's a little pricey, I would definitely recommend still doing this. So if you need to switch your time on your ticket at all, you can do so for free. So just like with the buses, they do have bundle packages. So with our trip to the Eye, we included a Thames River cruise, which I would highly recommend. So for us to do the London Eye and the river cruise, it was £46 or 58 US dollars per person. So since I wasn't sure how long we would be in line, I put an hour difference between our London Eye and our river cruise. But since we essentially weren't waiting in line at all, we ended up having too much time. So I just went to the ticket office and they were able to switch our cruise to an earlier one that was about to leave, so the timing was perfect. So don't be shy to change your ticket if you need to. It was really nice and convenient and free. So our river cruise was really fun. In true London fashion, it would rain off and on again, so they gave us some ponchos to use, but the majority of the ride we were okay to be up top. I think our tour guide's name was Rosie, but she was really funny and she gave us a lot of fun history and trivia. For example, did you guys know that this is not Big Ben? This is the Queen Elizabeth Clock Tower, and inside of it is the Big Ben Bell. Also, this is not the London Bridge. I don't remember which one of these actually is the London Bridge, but the London Bridge is a small, normal bridge, and this is the Tower Bridge. So if you want to see the original London Bridge, however, you need to go to Havasu, Arizona. An American man named Robert P. McCulloch bought it and moved it to Arizona. I heard rumors that he bought it on accident, thinking he was buying the Tower Bridge, but I'm struggling to find evidence of that mistake online. But mistake or not, there is a new London Bridge in London, the Old London Bridge in Arizona, and the Tower Bridge, which is the famous landmark in London. If you want to save some money and you don't want to do both attractions, the river cruise alone is cheaper and it's a great way to sightsee. It's only £14 for adults and £11 for kids. So we had a great morning doing both of these activities and just walking around the bridge and taking pictures, and then afterwards it was time to get on our bus tour. So I briefly talked about London's double-decker buses last week, so go back and check that out, but the bottom line is tour buses are a great way to sightsee, and these double-decker buses are actually from right here in London, so it's a really iconic way to sightsee. So we use the Toot bus, but there are a lot of companies who do this, so make sure you check the price of what is included for everything, because a lot of them include admission to other attractions. So we were trying to hit all the different routes our bus tour would take, and honestly in our 2 days I don't think we ever did like the whole thing, but either way it's really fun to sit up top and see the city and hear the history and the significance of each place in the audio tour. So we did pop off at one of the stops to get some lunch for beers in a real English pub. So we went to Shipwrights Arms for a traditional meal of bangers and mash. I know England is not really known for its food scene, but this was a wholesome, hearty meal, and honestly there's not much food that I don't enjoy, so we were still happy to try the local dishes even if they weren't necessarily new or exotic for us. So something else that you'd probably like to know, usually the tip is included in the bill, so there's no need to add anything or leave money on the table. This really felt weird to me, so I even googled it while I was making this video to make sure I wasn't giving you guys false information. But yes, Google is backing me up. No need to add tip to your bill, and typically you can actually see it on the bill added for you. So after lunch, we got right back on the bus and kept sightseeing. It started to rain and there was a little bit of traffic, so we decided it might be best to take the party elsewhere. We got off at Hyde Park, and honestly we were only there for a few moments when Brandon found a market he wanted to go to, but they were closing soon. So we decided it would be the fastest to take the Tube, since as fun as the tour bus is, they're not really made for speed or efficiency. So the Tube, or the Underground, is the name for London's metro system. And so for the Tube, luckily you can just do tap to pay, and just like in Amsterdam, we're going to tap in and tap out and be charged for the exact route that we take, unlike New York City where you pay a flat rate no matter how far you go. So however, be advised some additional fees may apply for overseas companies like American Express. So if you prefer a card, you can get an Oyster card and load it up with money, but honestly if you ask me, Apple Pay is the easiest way to go. And again, I went the entire trip without cell service and I could still access my Apple Pay with no issues. So once again, to get to the Underground, and once we were underground, where to go, we just used Google Transit and we had no issues. We got to the Borough Market just in time, and you never would have guessed it was about to close because it was still booming with business. So almost right away we saw people giving cups of strawberries covered in chocolate, which like in hindsight, so obvious and certainly so delicious. And we got some pastries to enjoy before our flight into Germany tomorrow so we could have breakfast on the go. We also got some hot mulled wine, which was so good. And lucky for our health but unlucky for our taste buds, we got in line for custom order apple crisp and they closed and we were sent away. So probably best, but I was kind of disappointed. The market cleared out really fast though, so I'm really happy we made it in time to buy some things and just to see it, because you know we love a good street fair. So the last thing we wanted to do was walk on the Tower Bridge. It wasn't that far from the market, so despite it being rainy, we trekked our way to the bridge, so luckily we had that hot wine to keep us warm. However, after doing the Tower Bridge, we were pretty wet and we were almost ready to turn for the night, but I still had one thing I wanted to do on my London itinerary that we hadn't done yet. So I wanted to get some sticky toffee pudding, and in research for this video right now, I realized that I actually didn't get some, but I thought I did. So I feel kind of stupid about this, but I'll embarrass myself a little bit. I was under the impression that it was like pudding like that we have in the US, like the, just pudding. And so I got some toffee flavored pudding with some little crumblies on it. And right now when I Google sticky toffee pudding, I keep seeing pictures of cake with like a toffee sauce and a custard. So that is a bummer that I'm finding out right now, but I guess this just means I will have to find my way back to the UK so I can complete my ultimate UK experience list. So after getting my not toffee pudding, which I thought was toffee pudding, it was time for us to head back to the hotel because we had an early flight to catch to Germany tomorrow morning. So sadly, that wraps up our time in London. Overall, I enjoyed London a lot, but I do have to say it kind of felt the least exciting. And I mean, this obviously makes sense, but you can really tell that this is where the first US settlers came from. Aside from the obvious we speak English and whatnot, the English influence is really noticeable in the United States. So aside from having like a different currency and the accent, this really just kind of felt like a city in the US to me. Unlike Amsterdam and Paris, where there's a very distinct look in the buildings and everything is very uniform, this was more similar to the US cities where the buildings don't match at all. They're kind of just random styles and features on each building. So especially, and you guys know we're from the Northeast, so London looks and feels a lot like those cities like New York, Boston, a lot of those first established places in the US, which, you know, makes sense. And of course the cuisine in England is very similar to the US. It's literally very meat and potatoes kind of food. So I definitely had fun, but it certainly felt like the least foreign to us. So what do you guys think? Does London look like it could be a US city to you? Any favorites of yours that we missed that we need to add to the list when we go back for my sticky toffee pudding? Leave us a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe. We only have 2 days left in our Europe trip and we're finishing it out in Germany. So next week we'll be starting in Cologne, Germany, and I don't want you guys to miss it. Thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next week in Germany. Bye!